Okay, so today we're going to start with Objective 1.1, points, lines, and planes. We're going to throw out some terminology. We've got the word point, line, and plane. This is probably not the first time that you've heard these words, but let's give them some formal definitions. A point is just that. It's just a point. It's a dot. You name it with one capital letter. And then over here on the right hand side of the diagram, you can see what it looks like when you're trying to draw a point. We have a point A and we have a point B in that example. The next term is line. And if we want to name a line, you would use two capital letters, or you would use one cursive lowercase letter. Now you're going to see some cursive in geometry, and I know that most of you probably don't know how to write in cursive and probably don't know how to read in cursive. So just do your best. If you're in class and you need to ask for clarification what that letter is, then just ask us, okay? So I've got drawn here this line that contains the points A, B, C, and F. And there's a bunch of different ways that I could name this line. I could name it AB. And notice up here at the top, I just highlighted it. That's what you draw that to symbolize that you're talking about the line AB. You could also name this line BF. You could name it CF. You could name it FC. You could name the line FB. You could even name the line FA. As long as you're picking two letters, 2 points, and using those 2 letters that's on that line, you can name it pretty much whatever you want. And then, of course, that's a lowercase l. It's just a little loop. You can name it that way. Now, when you have a plane, you want to think about it as being a flat surface, and you're going to use 3 capital letters to name it, or you will use 1 capital cursive letter. And my 3 examples would not fit in that little box, so I wrote them below there. The first one is a horizontal plane. The middle one we would call a vertical plane. And then the other one, that little orange rectangle looking thing that's sideways, that's just other. It's not really vertical, it's not really horizontal, it's just going sideways. So how many planes are in the following diagrams? Name a few points, name a few lines, name each of the planes. All right, so let's start with points. In diagram A, we can name any of these points right here. A lot of the times in geometry, you guys think about points as being corners. So that would be point A, B, E, G. There's a few. Now, if you name some other ones, that's fine and dandy. So let's name a few lines. So our lines are going to be like this. That would be a line. This would be a line. Here's a line. So we've got AD. Or you could have called it DA. We've got GC. You could have called it CG. And I've got BF. Notice up above, I've included an actual line. That lets us know that it is a line, the whole line, and not just a piece of the line. And now, we want to name some planes. So planes, first, let's figure out how many we have. Okay, so I've got the green one in the back, 2 sides, one side, 2 sides, that's 3. I've got the front side, which is 4, And now I've got the top and the bottom. So that makes 6. All right, so that's kind of messy. So let's think about it this way. It's a box. So I've got the back, the front, top, bottom, side, side. All right, so I only need how many? 3. 3 points to name the plane. So I'm going to say A, B, F for the back. For the front, I'm going to say D, C, G. For the top, D, A, B, because D to A to B, that would complete this whole top plane. The bottom, E, F, G. A side, B, C, G. And the other side, A, D, H. Now, when you go through and you name these planes, you kind of want to follow that path. And that'll kind of help you figure out which one you're talking about. So A, B, that should be a B. A, B, F, A to B, and then if I've got to go down to F, well, I'm going down. So that right there kind of shows me that that is going to be the back side of that box. All right, so the bottom question, I'm going to do purple. Points, lines, and planes. So points is pretty easy. All right, B, E, D. That's where some of you probably are right now watching this video. You're probably in the BED watching it. Lines. Well, I'm going to look at these lines that are connecting up here. So there's one. AB. BC. BD. Alright, so there's 3 lines. You could have chosen some other ones. Any of your answers would have been right. This is one of those things where multiple answers can be right. So if you're thinking something different, it doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means you think differently, and that's the answer you would have chosen. That happens in geometry sometimes. And now planes. How many planes do I have in this one? Alright, we got a bottom. Right? That's that square looking one. And then let's see, I've got this one. That's the side. And here's the side. And then I've got a back. And then I've got, this one's kind of hard to see. So you've got a bottom, side 1, side 2, and then a front and back. I'm going to run out of room here. So you're going to see some erasing. So the bottom one's pretty easy. Here's the bottom. Okay. Let's name it AED. Alright, side 1 would be here. If I went from B to C, D, and back up. So side 1 is going to be B, C to D. Alright, side 2, B, E, A. See that? B, E, A, back to B. Now let's do the front. B, A, C, So BAC and back up. And the last one in the back, BE to D. Okay? So as we see, planes can have different shapes. Square, triangle, hexagon. Planes can have different shapes. You only need, typically when we think of planes, we think of a square or a rectangle, but they can be different shapes. You only need 3 points to name a plane. All right, so here's a couple more definitions. You may or may not have heard them. Points that lie on the same plane, points that lie on the same line are collinear. Points that do not lie on the same line are non-collinear. List the points that are collinear and non-collinear. So I've got my little line here with the points K, L, M. If you are on that line, then you are linear. So linear points are K, L, and M. My non-collinear point would be point N. And it's kind of the same for planes. Points that lie on the same plane are coplanar. Points that do not lie on the same plane are non-coplanar. List some points that are coplanar and some that are non-coplanar. So we're going to look at plane P, which is in blue. And those coplanar, we want to think about them as being on the floor. Those coplanar points are C, H, I, and D. They're all on the floor. Now, if we look at plane R, which is green, we want to think about this as an elevator going through the floor, right? You know, an elevator, you travel up floor to floor to floor, and that's kind of like one plane passing through another plane. So all of the points that are on that plane R would be E, H, I, and F. Okay? Now, if we look over here on our right column, our non-coplanar points, to the blue, to the floor, which is plane P, the 2 points, E and D, are non-coplanar. The 2 points on the green would be C and F. You're probably saying, but I've got D here and here. Well, if you kind of look at that differently, it almost looks like that point D might be underneath it and that it's kind of hard to decide. So in a case like this where the picture is a little iffy, I would accept both of those answers as being correct. All right. Something else you need to know, the intersection of 2 lines is a point. You should have remembered that from algebra. And if 2 lines intersect, then that point of intersection would be the solution to the equation. I'm not real sure how far you guys got with solving systems of equations, but the intersection of 2 lines is a point. It's where you put a stoplight or a stop sign. The intersection of a line and a plane, you've got 3 possibilities. When a line passes through a plane, the intersection is a point. So if I were to take my pencil and stab it through a piece of paper, that point of intersection would be the hole. All right, that would be the point. If you have a line that lies on a plane, the intersection is a line. So imagine I had a pencil and I put it on top of a piece of paper. When I lay that pencil on top of a piece of paper, it's going to make a whole line. They intersect that whole length of that pencil. That pencil is my line. So a line lying on a plane, your intersection is a line. When a line is parallel to a plane, there is no intersection. Okay? I'm sure you learned about parallel lines. And parallel lines, they probably described them as the railroad track. You know, there's a rail line on each side. Those 2 individual lines don't cross or the train would crash. So if it's parallel, there's no intersection. The intersection of two planes. When two planes intersect, they form a line. Again, you want to think about it as an elevator passing through something. Another example of a plane passing through something, I think I forgot to mention it, but back up here on this slide, if you put a battery into something, that's putting a plane into another plane. Or if you think about a boat propeller, a boat propeller spins and it cuts into the water. So if you think about the water as being a flat surface and the horizontal surface, and if you think about that propeller as being the vertical surface or vertical plane, that vertical one is going to cut into that horizontal one. So when two planes intersect, they form a line. And from our example here, P is this funny looking one here. R is here. When those two intersect, their intersection is this line AB. All right, got a practice problem here. What is the intersection of plane HGF and plane BCG? Okay, first of all, I've got two planes. They intersect. So what does it got to be? It's got to be a line. And let's see where HGF is. So here's H, G, and F. All right, HGF looks like this top plane. And BCG. B, C, G. All right, well, that looks like it would be this plane. So when you think about two planes intersecting in the real world, they make what? If you look at the walls in your room, you have corners. That corner is that line of intersection. So the line FG. Or you're probably going to see it written like this. All right, if I write the word line with FG, then I know I'm talking about the line FG. If I don't want to write the word line, then I've got to use this symbol above FG that shows me it's a line. So name two planes that intersect line BF. All right, this is hard for me to see. So let's see where BF is. BF is here. So BF is my corner. Here's BF. So I have to have two planes, two sides. So if I go this way and I go this way, I can see those two planes. Now we all might name these a little differently, and that's okay. So let's go with BFE and BFG. By the way, if you've not seen the movie The Big Friendly Giant, the BFG, it's a really good, cute, adorable movie.